forum and what some of the topics that were discussed. Those were, I'll be very short with that framing, since that's what I wanted to do if the group was bigger. And then we can talk openly about what ideas and outcomes we think that we should take back from financing Jamaica's Vision 2030. Are you guys okay with this agenda?
Sure.
All right. So for those who don't know me, my name is Snyder. I am a master's student at Harvard University doing a master's in global development practices, which is a study of sustainable development and sustainability in general. I am working on my thesis right now. I actually submit in a month from today, so 1 month left of this journey. And I am writing my thesis on Jamaica, sustainable finance, and how to develop climate resiliency. So the Finance Forum was very interesting to me since it touched on those areas. And I'm really happy that we've been able to organize a conversation around this topic. So that's me. How about we do popcorn style, and I'll let Isabel introduce herself next as our representative from Island Innovation.
Okay, my name is Isabel Godoy. I'm from Chile, but currently living in Guatemala. In this beautiful country, it's really sunny here. I'm political scientist and public administrator, and I work in Island Innovation as partnerships and ambassador manager.
Awesome, Isabel. Who would you like to go next? You can pick.
Okay, me. Daniel.
So hi again, everybody. Some new faces, but some that are very familiar. Pleasant morning. My name is Daniel Jones Cox. I'm from Jamaica, and I am the Senior Director in the Modernization Program Implementation Unit, which is a part of the Transformation and Modernization Division in the Office of the Cabinet. Much of my work focuses on policy development. In particular, at the moment, we're working to develop a learning and development policy for the entire public sector, as well as implementing the service excellence policy. I also work on projects related to trade and investment. That's it. I would like to choose Omar, because I heard him earlier.
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Omar Chedo, also from Jamaica. I've worked with the government and private sector dealing with development projects, investment, trade, and I have a big interest in climate change and sustainability issues. That's it from me.
Awesome, Omar. Thank you. And who would you like to pick to go next?
I will pick Tracy.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so my name is Tracy Edwards. I am, of course, Jamaican, and I've been in, my background is really marine ecology and disaster mitigation. But for the last 2 years, I've been working in terms of conservation and sustainability on the business side of things and agriculture. So I work with clients in terms of sustainable business and sustainable agricultural practices. So, and I manage, I also, within the last 3 years, started my own business, which is called cooperative, and it's a business environmental sustainability coaching. So that's what I'll say for now. And I'm an Island Ambassador for the last, 2 years, Isa? Proudly. Yeah.
Awesome, Tracy.
I will pick Rooney.
Okay, I'm Rooney Calmera. My background is in economics. I'm from Curacao, but I have a special connection with Jamaica because I created the Jamaican economic model in a spreadsheet. And so I'm here to learn more about Jamaica. I have all the data on the economy of Jamaica and also towards 2030. And the other things is I'm interested in the Caribbean because I also created such models in the Caribbean. I'm also interested in blockchain and finance. So all innovative ways to help Jamaica move forward. Yeah, I'm interested in. So that's for data. You can contact me. I would
Awesome,
like
Rooney.
to let's say Simone Claxon.
Hi, good day. Thank you very much. Simone Claxton here from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Right, so I am president and founder of a nonprofit organization named after my daughter, the Sophia Miriam Foundation. And the purpose of that foundation is to empower single mothers and youths. So we're about youth empowerment, holistic development, basically. So youth empowerment, entrepreneurship, like mental, wellness, and also environmental awareness and agriculture. So our project center around those main topics. I'm also a tourism/business development consultant. My background is in international hospitality and tourism management. I studied and lived in England, Sheffield, Hallam University, a few years back. So that's me in a nutshell. I see Isabel is in beautiful Guatemala. I have a special connection and passion for Guatemala. I was there about 6 years ago. My daughter and I spent 6 months in Mazatenango in the north. And it was absolutely a wonderful experience. So I'm really glad to be here with you guys. I thank Chris for inviting me to this and keeping me in the loop with things. I think I met Stephen at the Island Finance, and that was a wonderful experience to network with persons there. So
thank you, Simone.
Thank you.
Who would you like to go next? You can pick somebody.
Who would I like to go next? Let me just bear with 1 second. Let's see. We have a Clinton.
Yeah, Clinton, would you like to introduce yourself?
Clinton Clark.
Okay, if Clinton isn't there, we'll give him a second to get to his mic. Hi, Jan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Stephen. Thanks for the floor. Hi, everyone. My name is Janita Reed, Jan for short. And yeah, I'm also Jamaican. And my background is in civil engineering and also wind energy. I volunteer for a nonprofit in the US, Women in Clean Tech, which is also a topic that's close to my heart, which is empowering more women to be involved in technical roles and also in the energy transition. And as a Jamaican, that's always keeping abreast of what's happening on the island. Sustainability is a topic that I find very interesting. And I think Jamaica has quite a lot of potential to improve its sustainability goals, also its social push forwards as well. So these are topics that I find very interesting, and other topics that I find interesting are innovation as well, as I mentioned before, clean tech. So yeah, that's basically a little bit about myself.
Awesome, thank you, Jan. Clinton, are you back? Would you like to introduce yourself? And if he doesn't answer, how about Diane Dormer? Would you like to introduce yourself? And I know Romeo is there. Oh, hi, Dan.
Hello, good morning. I was just going through my LinkedIn and I saw this, and since actually financing climate related financing is a topic that I am interested in, so I decided to join. And I know Tracy. As the name said, it's Diane Dorman. My background is in agriculture and climate change adaptation.
And it's good to have you.
Thanks.
That's great to have you, Diane. I'm so happy that social media was able to catch you. We're doing something right.
Yes.
Romeo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Romeo Clark. I'm from Jamaica, and my background is in accounting. I'm also an associate in a management, a Jamaican-based management consultant firm. And it's called Growth Perspective, where we focus on innovation enabling and organizational growth. Thank you.
Very happy to have you here, Romeo. So I'll give Fitzroy and Clinton and then Christopher a chance to introduce themselves. Fitzroy, would you like to go next? Okay, going once. Clinton, if you are able to, if you want to, actually, you can introduce yourself now. And Chris, if you'd like to introduce yourself. Okay. Well, I know Chris is around, so maybe in a little bit he can introduce himself as well. Oh, hi, Chris.
Hello, good morning. How is everyone? I'm Christopher Chinapu, and basically my background is in quality, sustainability, resilience, and generally innovation. Really passionate about creating cultures of quality, sustainability, resilience, and innovation globally. I've been involved in international standards, standards associated with smart cities development, governance of organization. I also have a background in corrections and corrections administration, national security. I've chaired the Regional Commission on Crime and Violence Prevention out of the CARICOM. I've also worked in the area of addressing migration and involuntary migration as it pertains to deportees returning to the region. I was the vice chair of the Research Commission of the CARICOM in that particular area. And just basically because these things require systems thinking and an integration of all the issues, we really seek to always connect the issues in terms of the bigger picture, in terms of systems thinking. So that's a little bit about myself. I run a company called 5-Star Quality and Justice Associates, and I'm also the Impact Youth Sustainability Director for Jamaica, apart from being an island innovation ambassador. So I thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you're here. I think we'll do one more introduction unless Fitzroy and Clinton are able. Jamila.
I'm seeing Jamila. I saw Jamila Falak James actually just joined.
Yeah, Jamila, would you like to introduce yourself?
Blessings, everybody. I'm Jamila Falak. I'm from Jamaica. I'm a musician and someone who's very passionate about sustainability and climate action. And so it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Stephen. Enough love.
I'm glad you could be here. And Jamila is a great tree planting ambassador for the Caribbean, working to plant trees across the Caribbean and Jamaica specifically. So I'm happy that you're here to chat with us. I think what we can do, Patrick is entering the room right now, but I think what we can do is just give a brief overview of the Finance Forum and some of the conversations discussed there. We've gotten to go through all of our introductions, so we won't need to do that. So we'll save some time there. But I would like to propose that we break out into 2, maybe 3 groups since our numbers have increased, and it will give everybody more opportunity to chat. Are you guys comfortable with that? I'm seeing some head nodding. Great. So what I'll do is I'll create 3 rooms and then I'll have them so everybody joins and we can take the chat from there. Patrick, we're about to break out into some groups. I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself if you would like.
My name is Patrick Smith, and I'm just curious as to this opportunity. So I don't have much more to add at this point in time.
Okay, well, we're happy you're here, Patrick. Thank you. So
will we come back? Will we come back? Do you want after the breakout? Will we come back? And how many minutes do we have for the breakout?
Yeah, thank you, Rooney. I'll go through that. I think what we'll do for the breakout rooms is I'll assign 3 breakout rooms, and we'll all be automatically placed into those. And then what we can do is chat about Finance Forum and the issues that are most pertinent to us. We had specific topics that the ambassadors are aware of, so I'll leave it up to the ambassadors to sort of moderate around those topics. And what we'll do is after about 30 minutes, seeing as it is 11, maybe after 20 minutes, we can end the breakout rooms and come back and sort of have a report back for 10 or 15 minutes. And what I'll do is, for some framing, is I'll share my screen and just briefly go over the document that we'll use to collect our, are you guys seeing my screen here with a Google document?
Yes.
Great. So we'll use this Google document to collect notes that we will turn into an article or some sort of outcome based on our discussion. And our agenda was to do our introductions. We've done that already. We've given you some instructions. We'll go into our breakout rooms and report back. And during the Finance Forum, which I found extremely useful, there were these specific topics that were covered. And it ranged on a bunch of different things, but I thought it was very useful in that it took these broad issues that we're trying to address with sustainable development and focused on how are we going to finance them, which I think is the key part of delivering outcomes based on what we want to do. We all know how important it is to have that money available to make these goals happen. And there was a lot of discussion around the blue and green economy. We know how important that is to Jamaica. Investments in small and medium enterprises and the value that these small private sector companies have in uplifting people and the necessary financing that they require to get those ideas off of the ground. There were 2 really great sessions on electrification, specifically around vehicles. And we know how our transportation is a huge contributor to carbon emissions. And we learned of a couple solutions happening across the world on islands, allowing them to electrify their both public vehicles like buses and transportation, as well as private vehicles like cars. Renewable energy, that's a hot topic in Jamaica with wind and solar becoming important parts. This topic I thought was also very useful around post-COVID-19 recovery, about how there is special financing available for this and how the Caribbean region has been severely impacted by COVID-19. So coming out of this induced recession is an important topic to cover. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies as a possible use of emerging technology for island solutions. Biodiversity and conservation, around how do we finance and protect our natural environment. And finally, impact investing and environmental, social, and governance, ESG, which is a specific way of targeting finance at solutions based on the impact that they have and the results that they have, whether it be environmental, social, and governance results. So that gives a general overview of the Finance Forum. What we'll do is we'll move into breakout rooms, and I see that there is enough for everyone to have 3 groups. I think that we'll be able to have a pretty useful conversation around that. There's 16 participants now, 15 actually, so maybe we make it into 4 groups. And then let me open it up to questions or any suggestions before we move into that. Any questions, any suggestions? Okay.
I saw some of the people that have just joined us now, so maybe you can explain them the rules again.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Isabel. Good point. So for anyone who has just joined, we'll go over again. We're going to go into breakout groups, and we're going to discuss finance and how to apply that directly to the solutions and problems that we're facing in Jamaica. And this is an opportunity for you to have a respectful dialogue with your members in the group. And we're going to be using this Google Doc to collect our notes and thoughts. So based on the group that you're in, please add your notes below it, and we'll use those notes as sort of framing for an article and for outcomes from this.
And Stephen, I would like to know, before go to the breakout rooms, your appreciation regarding to the Island Finance Forum, but just in 1 minute, summarize by yourself about the Island Finance Forum.
Yeah, so that's the whole point of us being here, is from the Islands Finance Forum that Island Innovation has organized this week. They had a lot of sessions that will be posted on YouTube around how do we use our financial system to empower and solve the global issues that we're applying. And there were quite a few topics discussed, and I know that you all can think of a couple ways of how we can apply that finance. So this is an opportunity to sort of have those outcomes. What I'll do is I'll post in the chat right now our Google document that you can all open up and actively contribute to the breakout group. And at this point, I'm going to create 4 breakout rooms, and it will assign automatically you guys to that. If for any reason there's too many ambassadors in one group, you can always come back out to the main group and get reassigned to that. So we'll give it a few minutes, and then how about at 11:50, we'll come back together after 20 minutes of chatting. How do we think about that, guys? Do I see some thumbs up, some head nods?
Yeah, that would be 10:50 Jamaica time.
Correct. I'm an hour ahead. Thank you, Omar.
Okay.
Great, thank you guys. I'm gonna open up the rooms and allow you guys to join. Okay, and so if you go to the breakout option at the bottom, you might be able to, actually, let me start this over.
Thanks for organizing this, Stephen. Well organized.
It was
Also the notes. I like the notes.
Yeah, it was a collaborative effort from all of the ambassadors. So I think we all did a good job. All right, so I'm going to try this again and open the rooms. All right, so now do you have an option to join a specific room? Okay, I see Isabel giving me the thumbs up.
It's saying please wait to be assigned.
Okay, so I have to do the assigning. So I'm going to start assigning people to the rooms, and you can accept the invite. Okay. And this way I'll manage a couple ambassadors per room.
Okay.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So Diane, Javina, Kerwin, Clinton, and Chris, I have assigned you to a room. You'll have to accept it from your side, and then you should be able to join. Hi, Clinton. I'm not sure if you're there, if you're hearing me. Wow, guys, good job. I am looking at the Google document and I am seeing a lot of great notes. I also jumped around and took notes based on what I could hear and what I was listening to as well. So I was really impressed by the conversations that we were all having. So in the interest of time, I think what we should do is we should have a quick breakout from each of the rooms. We'll go in order from room 1 through 4. And one person from your group should give us an overview, no more than maybe just 1 minute overview of what you were able to talk about. I'll take notes in the Google document and we'll use these Google document notes in devising some outcomes that I will send to all of you because I've gotten your emails from the registration. So who is going to report out from group 1?
So in terms of group 1, what we discussed, we had several items of discussion. Basically, I wanted to start with the fact that it was presented that there's a disjointed approach to development. And in that disjointed approach, there's a lot of fragmentation within the systems. We have different ministries and departments operating in silos and going in different directions. And there's a need for a policy response to help to create a greater integration and leadership approach around that. There's a need to redefine the roles of different players in the system, from both civil society, government, and business, the private sector. But there is a need for government to use their convening powers to help to bring these issues together around facilitation, around standards, and just that convening powers to actually bring the sectors together in a unified direction towards our Vision 2030. There's a pervasive need to think and look long term around that convening power, and there were some priority sectors that were identified for immediate development and improving access to finance in terms of the BPO sector, the agriculture, the agro-processing, and facilitating that expansion of scale for export development and e-commerce. So as an extension of that, the whole question of a digital currency and crypto on blockchains as a means of actually facilitating and accelerating that development in those areas are priorities. There was a question of regional collaboration and the need for us as a region to also work together and give preferential treatment in terms of import substitution. And in summarizing and addressing some of the localizing of the supply chain is going to be critical. And when we talk about the reducing the silos, is allowing for persons from agriculture, tourism, education, and all of these, this ecosystem to actually be able to better work together. The priority should also be placed on helping the agriculture sector to develop climate smart and resilient agriculture practices, greenhouse practices, aquaponics and aquaculture and those sort of things. And we need to be deliberate about it in the sense to improve the support for domestic production and consumption. That in a nutshell is some of the notes that was taken, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Very, very detailed. I appreciate group 1. Good job. Give you a hand clap for that. Breakout group 2. Who would like to talk from that group?
Isa, I think you should go.
No, for sure, no. I think you, Jamila, or Dan.
Dan. Dan, do you want to go?
Yeah, I think she is a good representative of our group.
Yes, Dan, I think Dan has a comprehensive understanding of everything that we said.
Yeah.
Tracy, you had wrapped it up at the end, so I think you should do it.
Oh man,
All right.
Okay, I will do it for group 2 then.
Okay, so thank you very much. It was a very, very interesting, I would say, powerful discussion. we initially looked at some of our challenges and what will bring us ahead. So we looked at cryptocurrency briefly, but then it came down to investment in SMEs and the post-COVID-19 recovery. And within this, we looked at the health and education sector, and what was happening within the health and education sector that was already strained. And with COVID-19, there are some mounting pressures. We tied this into what if the SMEs were supported? Would this therefore assist in the recovery of our health, education, and food systems? And it was brought up that yes, if SMEs are strengthened, then of course, because SMEs are so close to the ground, they're within communities, then we would work on the preventative stage, because it's their children in the schools, they're the ones being impacted by the poor health sector and within their businesses. The bottom line is recognizing that because of our policies, because of poor financing structures, that SMEs aren't supported, food systems aren't supported. We then go into details in terms of looking at the farmers here, how easy is it for farmers to access funding and SMEs to access funding and to have a sustainable business versus a farmer in the US who will have access to that funding, sustainable funding, and have business continuity. We are not seeing that here in Jamaica, and it's been a long-standing issue. And so where are we? We need a connection. We need our policymakers to understand what does it take, what is required, because funding becomes available, but they go through systems that if the SMEs are not able to access, or even if they can, it is a one size fits all. There's no tailoring to how farmers operate, how SMEs operate. And so what we find is that there is, again, a disconnect. We do not have sustainability in the business sector. We do not have sustainability in agriculture. And this is where we need to be. And so we're looking at what we need to do is we need to channel in terms of the policies. Yes.
Thank you, Tracy. Very, very useful. Definitely another clap for room 2. Great job. I'll hand it over to room 3. Who would like to report back to us on what group 3 discussed?
Hi, so I'll be reporting on what we discussed in group 3, and basically our breakout room consists of myself, Omar, who is also an ambassador, an Island Innovation Ambassador, and Mr. Mirage, who is the mayor of Maypen, who saw the announcement, I think it was on LinkedIn, and was able to join on short notice. So basically, yeah, it was pretty good. Basically, our topic was based on infrastructure and essentially how we can go about getting finance for sustainable infrastructure. And one of the points that came across that was discussed between ourselves is that in order for infrastructure to be successful, or for you to have actually successful financing within infrastructure, is that it should serve a purpose for the people. So infrastructure should really meet the needs of the people. It's not in a silo by itself. And an example that was given was, for example, in Colombia, an area that was predominantly overridden by drug trafficking, which was completely transformed because of strong infrastructure investments that was developed in the area that allowed the less advantaged people to have access to highways, or to have access to, to the local towns that usually they did not have access to. And as a result of having that sort of access, that, it stimulated inclusion, and with inclusion, change, and gradually that area in Colombia changed. So we learned about some of the different, like for example, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the Development Bank of Jamaica, which are some of the go-to financial institutions that are interested in investing in sustainable projects. One of the projects that came out in our discussion was, for example, the market downtown area in Kingston, which extensive study was done with the university, a professor from the University of Technology and Mr. Cheddar. And from that, some areas of the study was implemented, but apparently some other areas stalled. So this is also another aspect that came out in the discussion, is that you might have financing, you might be able to bring the private sector on board, because if the private sector is involved, they have their specific needs as well to fulfill their financial needs. So one of the aspects is how do you go about changing the mindset of the people, for example, downtown, where you'd have the vendors who traditionally they're not used to paying for space. How do you sort of, how would I say, change their thoughts about that with the investment of improving their facilities, that they will now have to change. They will now have to pay for space. So these are some of the hurdles that, despite having the investments that you have to overcome, is getting the private sector on board, changing the mind of the people, and also ensuring that you bring all stakeholders on board as well. Because projects, one of the problems with, for example, the development for downtown Kingston is that there's some stall at the moment because a stakeholder was not brought on board. So I think this is this basically summed up our session, is that so you bring all the stakeholders on board, you try to change the mind of what was traditionally acceptable gradually, and that whatever infrastructure you're bringing out, that it should connect with the people, it should fulfill a purpose for the people. So that was basically it.
Thank you so much, Jan. That was really, really great. And very detailed notes from you guys. And thank you to the mayor for joining. I hope you found this interesting. And I'm glad that our LinkedIn message caught your eye. Room 4, could we get a quick summary of your notes? I see that you guys got a lot. Yeah. And then once we finish with group, go ahead, sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'll be very quick. You said 1 minute. So we focused on financing climate actions, and really the follow-up questions dealt with what can government and multinationals and private sector organizations do to support. One of the things that was interesting that came out of our discussions was that we are really not short of financing. That was one of the framing remarks, is that there's always been donors, whether multinational, NGO, government, throwing funding at tackling climate change related issues. But there are several factors rather that have contributed to them not being as successful as they could have been, considering the amount of money that has been donated. Some of the things that we discussed were weak regulatory environments in many of the Caribbean islands. We also spoke to the fact that many of the Caribbean islands do not have national strategies and action plans, or not as effective as they should be. Another thing that we focused on is government's sort of lack of continued and continuous focus on tackling climate change. It always seems to be a 9-day wonder. And so some of the things that we also said going forward would need to change are increasing the political will of administrations across the Caribbean to have them focus on climate change and really take it seriously. Some other things that came out is, if we really want to make tackling climate change and financing it a priority, then one of the things that we quite haven't gotten right yet is how do we get buy-in, not just from government and NGOs and stakeholders who are integrally involved in the process, but just the everyday citizen. How can we get them to focus on climate change and the importance of really kind of taking it seriously? And in closing, one of the things that we also spoke to is that we want more private sector entities as well as the government to mandate the focus on transitioning to renewable. That's it from me, Stephen.
Wow, Danielle, so much covered. Thank you so much. That's really, really great. Guys, I'm looking at an overview of our document, 8 pages of notes. Isabel, we had a survey that we wanted to put to participants. Could you help me share that with them real quick? Okay, so this survey is to help gauge how effective you thought this dialogue was. Feedback is always very useful, especially when designing these things. There's some of us in this group who are also very good at these dialogues. I know Chris and Tracy have done a bunch of these. Maybe this is something that we can improve on and continue to have this conversation for island innovation and financing the solutions that are being talked about. Yeah, I really want to thank you guys so much for joining our conversation. Thank you to Island Innovation for hosting us. It's been a really great opportunity. Isabel, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and join us for our session. And I want to share with everybody else here, thank you for participating. To the Island Innovation Ambassadors, you guys are amazing. We wouldn't have been able to do this without you. And I'm really excited to hear about what other hub events that we will organize as we lead up to the Island Innovation Summit.
Stephen, before you,
yeah,
Stephen,
Chris, tell us
I realize
more.
you're doing a closing. So before you go, I think there are some other little events that we could also make some of the participants aware.
Great idea.
Right now, right now, there is a series of UN food systems summits that is going on and ongoing throughout the region, being hosted by, well, only the government of Bahamas have actually convened a national dialogue so far, but there are a number of other independent dialogues being hosted by Impact Youth Sustainability and others, the Jamaican Network of Rural Women Producers and KCDI, that we would like to also extend the invitation to the members here. There's actually one that's going to be hosted this afternoon addressing the whole issue of the circular economy. And within these dialogues, there is also the question of not only improving partnerships, but how do we better finance these dialogues. That dialogue will actually be hosted at 3 p.m. Jamaica time this afternoon via Zoom. And I think there is still room in the dialogue to actually invite all of the parties here. You will find too that some of the issues may also overlap, but the critical opportunity with the UN Food Systems Summit dialogues are that all of the reports are synthesized into the UN Food Systems Summit, which will be hosted in September by the UN Secretary General. All right, so it will then help to frame the multinational and multi-sectorial approach that will be taken in helping to address the issues on an international level, and may also, in relation to COP26, help to influence the direction that COP26 actually goes. The circular economy is going to be a critical component of COP26. So there was a lot of discussion here about the renewables and the need to enhance renewables, but circular economy is actually be seen as the second major strategy in terms of achieving net zero. So the more that and for also improving for addressing biodiversity loss, and for improving and connecting the just transition in terms of assuring that there's community resilience based on the creation of sustainable employment, especially for informal sectors, and making sure that informal sectors are brought along. So that I will post the link in the chat, and I will also ask persons to probably go on to the UN Food Systems Summit Gateway, and they can find some of the other dialogues that are taking place in the region. And
you
look
so
out for
much,
the
Chris.
other hub activities being hosted by the Island Innovation Team. Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's really great. Thank you. Please post that in the chat before we go so we can grab that. I'm going to try and attend this afternoon myself. Okay, wow, a whirlwind of an hour and a half. I really appreciate everyone for coming and joining. Any final things? I think we should end on that actually. I was just waiting for Chris to share the link. Yeah, we'll follow up with everyone who had registered for this event with our notes and share outcomes. Isabel, would you like to say?
Yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate your effort to create this instance to speak about these issues around Jamaica or the other islands in the Caribbean. I think it's really good to have you here because we had really good discussions, and I'm learning from you. So I really appreciate your efforts in this instance, and I think we can have more this kind of dialogues in the future for Jamaican group or Caribbean group.
Awesome, Isabel, thank you. And again, thank you so much for your support. Guys, with that, I'm going to close the meeting. Please stay in touch, and yeah, we'll follow up with everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time. And yeah, really appreciate the ambassadors for joining and participating. You guys are great. And Chris, I see you just posted it to the group. So for those who are interested in participating this afternoon, please take that link that he's shared and register. It sounds really, really interesting. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care.